Hey everybody, my name's Noah Bailey. Today I have Dr. Fong with me, and he's going to be giving us some more information about gambling addiction. So, Dr. Fong, could you please introduce yourself for me?
Greetings. My name is Dr. Timothy Fong. I'm a professor of psychiatry here at UCLA School of Medicine. I'm the co-director of the UCLA Gambling Studies Program. Our UCLA Gambling Studies Program is a clinical research program designed to look at the causes and clinical course of gambling disorder while developing science-based evidence treatments for gambling disorder.
And so, how common is gambling addiction in the US right now?
1 out of 100 people in the general population are currently suffering signs and symptoms of gambling disorder. We also estimate that there's another about 2 to 3% of people already developing some signs of early gambling addiction, but not what we call full diagnostic criteria of gambling disorder. So when people say to me, who's most likely to develop this disorder? It's often number one, men and women who have a family history of gambling addiction. Secondly, men and women with untreated psychiatric conditions like depression, bipolar disorder, ADHD, other active substance use disorder. These are folks who are going to be more vulnerable to develop gambling addiction.
And so, how can someone tell if they have a gambling problem?
So we make the diagnosis by doing a psychiatric interview and looking for signs and symptoms of whether or not they meet diagnostic criteria for gambling disorder. And some of those diagnostic criteria are going to be things like tolerance to gambling, withdrawal, continuing to gamble despite harmful consequences. For me, I have a very simple screening question. It's basically, does your gambling behavior, does it make your life better or does it create problems in your life?
Wow, yeah, that is a good assessment question. I wanted to ask, with the increase of gambling online and the legalization of sports gambling in over 30 states across the US, how has that affected gambling addiction?
So we're seeing a rapid expansion in the terms of availability of sports betting, in terms of the discussion of sports betting, in terms of figuring out how is sports betting impacting gambling addiction, problem gambling, and just gambling in the general culture. There's a few things that I'm noticing so far. Number one, we're seeing obviously more and more people gambling. We're seeing more and more people starting to gamble that probably would not have gambled before. Number two, we're seeing a full-blown acceptance of gambling, not only as a form of entertainment or diversion, but almost an embedded part of our popular culture. Of course, what does that mean for the addiction world is that we are concerned that that could, in time, create an increased number of men and women suffering from gambling addiction. I think that's the theme we're trying to encourage people to say is that when you have any life problems or any concerns about your gambling, ask that question, what's causing this? And then seek professional help through a mental health professional.